Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. It is a pleasure to be part of this conference, and I want to thank Professor David Lee to have me here. Let me talk about today, and I thought that's quite a opportune time to speak about, in my mind, the most important part of our blockchain journey is how do we cross the chasm of experimentation to commercialization. And that's going to be my speech tonight. How do we jump from experimentation to commercialization? In the last 3 to 4 years, there has been what I call as a golden age for blockchain experimentation. Let me explain this. First, what has worked well? Largely, experimentation has found and resolved issues, helped in developing an understanding of the technology, and advanced the technology rapidly and widely. Second, there is some criticism. People say it is a hype, and the hype was crowding out the good projects. We all remember how companies were changing their names to include blockchain, or how blockchain was being applied to the most inappropriate use cases, where a simple Excel file would have done a better job. Third, funding was indiscriminate. Marketing and sexy ideas became more important than technology or a solid business plan. This all started changing around 2 years back. Investors became savvier as they understood the technology better, and the focus started shifting towards concrete ideas with a clear path to commercialization. And over the last year, we have noticed a significant trend. Blockchain projects are going commercial and going live. That's a very good news. We'll see this from our own project called Project Ubin. As an example, in phase 5, which is the current phase, we started looking at use cases for blockchain-based payment and worked with a wide range of blockchain companies. We wanted to see who are the natural users and customers if we develop a digital currency infrastructure. We were pleasantly surprised by the level of interest, and the interest is just not in financial services, but across multiple areas such as trade, supply chain, insurance, advertising, human resources. We spoke with more than 40 financial and non-financial firms and conducted workshops to test and validate ideas. Many were more keen, and we had to prioritize. We see many have gone live and are going live. Some of them have annual transactions over millions of dollars. And lastly, the commercialization of blockchain technology is now happening in a big way. Let me go through a few examples. First, capital market. Two areas come to my mind: digital assets and private equities. In digital assets, examples like SIX Digital Exchange, the operator of the RTGS and exchange in Swiss, is going into digital assets in a big way. In private equities, we have CapBridge, One Exchange, and iStocks in Singapore. AMTD Group recently acquired a majority stake in CapBridge. Second, trade finance. Many parties are now in this space: Komogo, Wheat.trade, Marco Polo, Contour, previously known as Voltron. And we are pleased to see Contour launching in Singapore earlier this year. Large Chinese companies are especially active in this space, having seen clear benefit. We heard that many of these that are very high transaction volume, perhaps some will cross a billion mark value this year. There are two areas where the value is the clearest and where the potential impact is the highest, hence the strong focus. We are also seeing businesses emerging out of many of these other areas, which sounds very promising. Digital currency is another area where we are seeing increased interest beyond experimentation. Cambodia launched the Bakong project, which is now in live pilot trials with real value being transacted. The digital currency electronic payment project by PBOC of China is another good example. We are seeing media reports of pilot trials and indication by the government going to use it during 2022 Winter Olympics. US is also moving quickly. with the setup of the Digital Dollar Project. There are many projects around the world, example e-Krona by Riksbank, and many European and Middle East centers are also experimenting on something similar. Central banks are generally cautious about announcing their ambitions, but it is obvious that many are doubling down their efforts to understand the technology and to apply it to the next generation of payment systems and digital currencies. The growth of live commercial blockchain projects and the growing interest in digital currencies feed into and accelerate each other. Blockchain projects going live will increase the need for digital currencies. But just to repeat, the blockchain projects will only go live if we see perhaps a greater adoption of digital currencies. At the full benefit of asset tokenization, when you have tokenized the cash, you will see the whole benefit coming through the process. All the banks or all the FIs and all the blockchain companies, all this are talking about smart contract automation. They are only going to be credible if they have if they have secure and direct access to the tokenized cash. With clarity around the commercial value, there is an interest from the private sector to build the digital currency infrastructure to capture these opportunities. Coins, Libra are all good examples. Central banks are now going to look at this very closely. They're going to look at the benefits and the value for the economy. Others are concerned about private sector players trying to play the role of central bank. Ultimately, blockchain technology is here to stay. What government should do is to facilitate and accelerate this trend, help promising companies to grow and grow the company, grow the talent, grow the network, grow the collaboration, and hence bring like-minded parties together through knowledge platform like the Singapore FinTech Festival and many such forums like this, what we are having today. And accelerate through innovation and experimentation through joint industry projects like Project Ubin. And recently we talked about how can we bring some of this blockchain project to our API exchange platform where we can build POCs and pilots. In Singapore, we are going to stand behind these companies. We're going to support these companies so that we can cross the chasm from experimentation to commercialization in 2020. We believe this will be an exciting year for blockchain technology, at least in an optimistic note. Between 2020 and 2021, you will see the production grade and a pervasive use of blockchain in many of the sectors we talked about. Thank you for hearing me, and hopefully we'll have a great panel discussion after this.
感谢各位嘉宾的